So I'll just want to echo that my own study, which was published in the American Journal of Managed Care, which looked at a medical home pilot in which all reimbursement was shifted from drug into cognitive services, E&M codes specifically, showed no change in behavior. So again, I think the studies are there and they're getting increasing in number. If we think about all the conversation we've had thus far, and we think about what has been pushing the sea changes that are happening, if there is a single impetus, it's the economics of medicine. And if we think about what has often been, where the finger pointing has come as to what has been the driver, it's been the increasing cost of drug. And so the question is, if it is the increasing cost of drug, how is that going to be managed? Is there a ceiling? What is that? What's going to change? And I wonder, looking back at this last year and watching the Sovaldi experiment, which probably got the most media attention of any drug, and you could argue that it maybe also was the least appropriate because it truly was breakthrough therapy that was curative in intent and all those other aspects of it. But we then saw the industry recapitulate when competition truly took place and pricing shifted because of rebates and payer relationships. So I wonder, do you see that? Is that the future? When the new class of PD-1 drugs and PD-L1 come out, is it going to be a Sovaldi once you've got 3 in the market? Is that going to happen with TKIs and renal cell and CML? Do we see that happening? And it will be something that, how will it happen? Will payers do it? Will be deferred to the PBMs and they'll be the responsible party? How do you think that happens? So I think for this one, I'll start with Scott because I think a lot of this is about kind of structural in the industry.
Well, look, we've seen the price of, Sovaldi came out at a high price. We've seen the price of the class of drugs come down substantially with the second generation of those drugs with Harvoni, which was a successor to Sovaldi, based, I think, largely on the fact that there's now competition in the market, not just from another drug, but from the potentially an additional drug launching into that space. The blended average price for Harvoni has come down from around $80,000 for Sovaldi, and you probably know these figures better than I do, to around $50,000 for a blended average price across all payers. And so I think the lesson there is that what's really enabled price competition in the market there was multiple entrants and multiple products to treat the same problem. Obviously differentiated products, but ultimately products that could all ultimately treat the same underlying disease. And so I think if we're looking for sort of policy things that we can reach to, I think it's ways to enable second and third in class drugs to come to market potentially as efficiently as a first in class drug. The system isn't always designed to do that, and very often you'll see the first in class drugs have a much different regulatory process than a second in class drug. And those are things we could think about if we're looking for policy solutions that are far preferable to some of the other alternatives people are talking about, which is more administered pricing type of approaches.
Yeah. Well,